Keesha woke from a deep dream. Deep, deep among the roots of the mountain, where the earth bled ribbons of fire and the ocean ran through Telshi fur like song. She had been young then, and Kos had swam with her into the channels of night, where everything changed, even their bodies, and yet they were always themselves.
"Keesha!"
The voice tripped a deep chord in his head, a chord he'd set there himself not so long ago. Keesha opened one eye. The dim world fluttered into focus. Arcove stood, belly deep in the water of the dreaming sea, lit from below by the phosphorescence of Akris. His green eyes caught the green glow, and he bristled everywhere he wasn't wet. He looked like a monster out of fever dreams. Keesha raised his head and yawned.
"Tell me I'm still dreaming, and my oldest enemy has not found his way into this most sacred of Telshi havens. And then tell me how desperate you are. I'd like to hear that part."
Arcove's ears lay flat against his head. He'd been calling to Keesha from a good 6 paces away. Now he backed up even further, half swimming, nearly tripping on coral in the slick rock floor.
"I would not be here if it wasn't important."
Keesha looked around, blinking. The dreaming sea appeared peaceful as always, full of the melodic hum of enormous, ancient Telshis, who slept forever in the gently moving water. Chords of light danced on the cave walls, disappearing into the immense height of the ceiling. Stalactites and stalagmites had merged to form columns throughout the cave and fantastic lattices of rocky crystal. All of this seemed comforting to a Telshi, but Keesha was aware that it must seem intimidating to a Keesha. His gaze returned to Arcove.
"How long have I been asleep?"
He couldn't see any gray around the cat's muzzle, no thinning of the coat, none of the characteristic boniness and muscle loss of age in land animals.
"Surely I have not slept for years longer than I intended to."
Keesha hoped, but he wasn't certain. Time got away from him these days.
"Surely Shaw would not have let me do that."
Arcove watched the Telshi warily.
"The last time I saw you was something less than a year ago."
"Ah." Keesha relaxed. He remembered now. He'd chosen to sleep through the winter here, rather than in the traditional deep caves. Other Telshis found the dreaming sea unsettling, since it implied the final sleep. But Keesha had been coming here for decades. He yawned again.
"Is it spring? Summer?"
"No,"
said Arcove.
"It's winter."
Keesha peered at him.
"The end of winter?"
"The middle."
Keesha was taken aback.
"You came all the way to the dreaming sea and woke me up in the middle of winter."
Arcove did not quite meet Keesha's eyes. His ears and tail flicked with feline anxiety. He started to say something, but Keesha spoke first. "What's happened to Roop?" Arcove's anxiety dissolved into suspicion.
"What makes you think anything has happened to Roop?"
Keesha's eyes skipped around the cave.
"Because otherwise he'd be with you. How did you get here, anyway? I've never taken you to the dreaming sea."
"Roop is fine," said Arcove. "He is overseeing the situation in my absence. Sonny and Vala brought me here."
Keesha caught a flash of movement on the ledge at the mouth of the tunnel that opened onto the dreaming sea. It was difficult for a land animal to get down without a Telshi's help, and impossible to get back up. Well, almost impossible. Coden had managed it a few times. Keesha squinted at Arcove.
"You woke me in the middle of winter."
He was chagrined to hear an undignified whine in his voice. Before he could think of anything sufficiently threatening to correct it, Arcove spoke again.